Okay, some more about MIDI. What we're looking at here is a screenshot of my software, Studio One. That's what I use. So let's call up some instruments, and I'll just do a regular piano. More on this in a second. So it's got to load it up for a second. So MIDI, it turns out, is extremely useful because the computer can memorize what it is you're playing. And I do this all the time on several albums. So now we have a piano, which we're not hearing and should be. Oh yeah, helps if you turn it on. All right, so now I'm just clicking there. But I can also play on the MIDI keyboard when I have it listening to it, like that. And sometimes things just don't work. There it goes. I had a setting wrong. So what you're seeing in that little piano keyboard there, I'm playing those keys on the actual keyboard, the controller you looked at earlier, the Roland. So what's happening, I press the C, a MIDI message goes into the computer, play middle C, computer uses its computer brain to calculate what it would sound like, and this is a synthesizer. Sorry, this is a sample playback thing. So what you can do is if I hit record here, and you can tell up here at the top, it was memorizing it. So let's slide this out of the way. And here are the notes that I was playing. Let's say I don't want that note to be C. I want it to be this C. So all of a sudden, so all of these lines and bar lines and stuff really don't apply here because I did not play to the click. If I had played to a click, then they would all line up, and we can change this. We can change it. Let's say I don't want it that late. I want it earlier. Just click and drag. And I want this one to be here, and I want this one to be there, and I'm just totally hosing this thing. Or change the tempo. I can sound like I really know what I'm doing. Never knew I could play that fast. So all I did was change how fast the file plays back. And since it's MIDI, all these are just notes to itself. Play this note, play that note, play the other note. So if I want to change what sound is being used, let's play it with an accordion. And just the way this particular piece of software does, I can layer it or I can just replace it. Let's take it a little slower than that. And just to save some time, let's get rid of that open space. So essentially what's happening here, same MIDI data, but it's being sent to a different instrument. Change instruments that's coming up, an FM stack, whatever that sounds like. So essentially MIDI allows us to do word processing essentially with music. So let's take it off record there, and we can copy this. And let's paste it again. So now I have 4 different copies of the same thing, so I can pull in different instruments. A full B3. Let's do, a guitar. Maybe a banjo. Let's get ridiculous here. And perhaps a Strat. And so now I've got same MIDI data, all 4 here, and So that's actually a demonstration of several things here. I've got MIDI data, so it's driving 4 different software synthesizers. There's your FM stack, full B3, banjo, and Strat guitar. And then I can mix these two things together. This is a multi-track recording. So just for grins, let's pan these a little bit. And then you can add all sorts of sound effects, special effects, whatnot. We'll add, some room reverb. See what that sounds like. And no, we don't need the mix tool. Turn that one off. I want a compressor. This is just your basic compressor. Back to the beginning. And I got some presets. Let's I'll just pick one at random. Here we'll add sustain. So you can tell just all this is done inside the computer. That's multi-track recording, a little bit of mixing. That one was totally weirded out. So let's talk about sampling. What is sampling? Well, first let's get rid of some of these tracks because I need a different instrument to show you this. Sampling, let's take a look at this. Crunkzilla, we're going to replace that. Yes, let's replace it. All right, this is a sampler. Now this is all done in software, but the principles remain the same. You can tell, let's turn off all that stuff. That is a recording of a clave. Here's a second recording. And you can tell that the waveform there looks totally different. The crash, percussion 1. So basically what's happening here is this particular instrument has pads and you assign a sample to each one. So if I play it on the keyboard, when it receives MIDI information, and it has some synthesizer stuff on it. Let's say I don't like that one, I can transpose it down or up. So I can make it sound exactly like I want it to, or the snare drum. Transpose it down. It's changing how it plays back that one sample. So that's how sampling works. So what we're doing here, this may or may not work. Let's find out. So you can see the lights light up. Let's look at that again. When the MIDI data fired a particular note that a pad was assigned to, the pad played the sample, and then you hear it out the speakers. And then we could do all sorts of sound effects just on that. So let's go ahead and add a phaser, extreme phaser. Oh, forgot to double click. So again, all done inside the box. So there's MIDI. Here's a sampler. The MIDI's driving the sampler, and then you got the multi-track stuff happening, and then a special effect, which you can then output and do stuff with, post it online, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of an overview of what happens when you do recording.